I'm Diane. I hope everyone's doing really well and hope you're enjoying the day. Now, I had some difficulties filming at 10:30 today, so we're starting a little bit later. So I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad you're here, and so let's get started. So the topic of the day is young adults, vitamin deficiencies, and what that has to do with suicidal thoughts. Now, we've heard the stories about young people feeling depressed, feeling down, feeling as if they're not able to really get themselves out of the vortex of depression that's been engulfing quite a lot of our young people. And I think it's important for us to look at all avenues that we can find to help them through it. Now, I've worked with some young folks over time in my coaching practice. And these are individuals, either young kids in their, let's say, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Some have been 17, 18, 19 years old. Some have been 20, 21. And they've come to my classes, let's say for yoga, or I was invited to come and work with them just to engage in fun activities and to understand how breathing can be helpful to them and the stories behind breathing and their bodies and their brains and all of that good stuff, among other things, with young people. So I've had some experience in that area as a coach and also as a consultant. And I think it's important to note that while there are a number of different experts in these fields that will give you their input and their ideas, I think it's important for you to find the right expert for you when it comes to your child and suicidal thoughts, okay? So this isn't the end-all be-all platform for you to get that information for your child. This can be one, however, that you could really benefit from, and keep an open mind and keep an open heart to hearing what is available to you, what is available for you and your child to move forward. And if you're feeling lost as a parent, know that there's always support for you. And I hope this platform is one of those platforms for you today. So young people think about suicide in an attempt to deal with some problem or stress. As we all do, we try to cope with our stress, but young folks, depending on what age they are, they might be in a process of brain development that might make the experience that they're having in that moment a lot more devastating than they're able to really suss through on their own. Now, most people who attempt or complete suicide don't necessarily want to die. Rather, they want to escape their overwhelming situation and they think there's no way out. And the emotional pain of that can be a baggage that they can't carry on their own. So suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem, and there's no going back once they've made that decision. Realizing that this too shall pass, as in the circumstance that seems so overwhelming at the time, this too shall pass, is an important teaching that I try to engage folks in and help them to understand how that flows for them. And it's no different for a child or a young adult. I try to teach them a similar message. Based on their age group, etc., I will introduce them to different ways in which they can do so for themselves. All right? It's important to note when we're trying to help young people, we have to understand not just the way their generation thinks. It's important to focus on the child and what that child's going through. And if it's a young teenager or an early adult, young adult individual, it's important to understand that we don't clump them into a group as a generation, so to speak. We have to approach it from a perspective of who is this individual sitting in front of me. That's one way to start. So few people are aware of the connection between nutrition and depression. While it's easily understood that the connection between nutritional deficiencies and physical illness is obvious, we sometimes don't link nutrition as important. And the deficiencies that can happen in the minerals that we take, either in our foods or how we get them through other means, alternate means, is key. And letting our loved ones know that they can start to at least get a hold on what it is that they think is really their thoughts, taking them down that spiral, that they can pull themselves back out of that. There needs to be hope. Okay, there needs to be hope. And if you can look at vitamin deficiencies as one means to hope, then I would encourage you to do so. That's just what I believe and what I've been practicing in my coaching and talking with young adults over the years when I've had the opportunity to do so. And also research shows, interestingly enough, as we segue into the next portion of what we're talking about here today, suicidal thoughts in young adults, research notes that vitamin D deficiency is one of the more prevalent deficiencies that young adults who are thinking about suicidal thoughts are experiencing. There are other minerals and vitamins that add to that, and so it's important for you to do your own research in those areas. Now, if you feel like you're hopeless in helping your child or your teenager or your young adult child, there's hope. And starting that research with food or with nutrition is one way that you can start to feel a little bit like the ground isn't slipping out from under you. So vitamin D is important and is used during brain development. Like I said before, brain development is happening for the child from 0 to 21, 22. I may not have mentioned it in this video, but I've mentioned it before. That brain development is crucial during those times. And again, how the child perceives his or her situation can feel like a drowning. It can feel as though they're not able to think their way out of it because there's a part of their brain that's telling them that there's something wrong that they can't fix. And so that could be linked to a deficiency of the type of nutrient that your child's brain could be having at that moment. Or maybe over time it's developed into that. So what are the neurological symptoms of vitamin D deficiency? How can prevention be put into place? Now let's see. So there's fatigue, there's memory loss, and difficulty concentrating. Those are three that I can touch on right now. And mind, if you're experiencing or if you notice that your child is experiencing one or more of those, it may not be that he or she is thinking about prevention, or rather thinking about suicide, but it doesn't hurt to start asking those questions, right? To see what could possibly be at the bottom of the fatigue, the memory loss, the difficulty concentrating, or perhaps not showing as much excitement about an activity that they once really thought was fun and exciting, and they couldn't wait to get up out of bed to do it that day, or to join their friends in an activity that they used to love. And what was the change? When did the change happen? So those are some of the signs that there's a neurological change that's happening. And again, all is not lost. Have that talk that I'm sure you're having with your child, but know that there's a way that you can start to look at different ways of prevention, or if your child's in the thick of it, start to look at what they're eating, discuss with them what they like to eat, introduce them to different foods. You never know, right? The whole point of this talk is to encourage hope and is to help you as the caregiver or the parent to know that there are ways to move forward and to be a support to your loved one, your child. And I think it's so crucial to know that, because every support system needs help in being better able to cope with being the helper, right? And we sometimes forget that caregivers, parents need support in understanding what their child is going through. during depression, during the suicidal thoughts spiraling. And I hope this has been helpful to you. That's the goal here. That's all I'm thinking about. How can I help and support the child and their parents, the support network? So I hope these tips have been helpful. And again, the minerals and vitamins that can combine with vitamin D to make it helpful for your child to pull back on how suicidal thoughts has been taking over his or her life can be researched by you. You can take that step to look into it. If your child is on medication, and I'll finish off with this, if your child is on medication, of course, it's very important that you don't abruptly stop the medication, okay? Speak to your healthcare provider and make sure you're doing it properly to balance out the use of medication with nutritional support, okay? Make sure you do it the right way so that your child can benefit in the long run and your stress level can go down as best as you can make it. Do so, all right? I know you love your child, and I know your child loves you. So this is my way of helping to spread love to you and your family so that you can be there for those who need your help as a parent, your child who needs your help as a parent. And all the love to all of you out there. All right? Now, if you have any questions, let me know. And I'd really love to help you. So message me or do a heart emoji or a thumbs up to let me know that this has been helpful to you. And that's all that matters. Is this helpful to you? Let me know if these tips have been. I'd really appreciate knowing, and I would love to continue helping you in finding solutions to problems such as these. With that said, enjoy your day. Namaste.